Hi.
Welcome to Event Conversations and Q&A.
Yes, thank you for being here.
We are happy to have you guys here today.
Yes.
We just wrapped up one of our show episodes,
Yes.
and it is fire.
Fire. Best one yet. Where's the explosions?
Like, when we get on a topic that we are genuinely passionate about, it shows, right?
It
It's
does.
not just a conversation and a topic. So be sure to check out, that one's going to come out it's going to come out soon. So be on the lookout
please do.
for that one. You'll know when you're listening or watching which one we're talking about. You let us know when you find it, because it'll be there, a little spicy.
Be the one with the bombs.
It's a little spicy. So anyways, we get questions in all the time from you guys. I put a Q&A box up earlier. We had a few more come in, and I'm seeing a pattern to a lot of the questions that come in.
Okay.
And so sometimes we do like Q&A, sometimes we have more conversation, sometimes we go a little more depth. Today we're gonna go a little more in depth on one of the topics. Which is...
It's a great topic.
A lot of people are coaches, right?
Yes, you are.
And they're wanting to know, like, okay, how do I go from being a coach into...
one-to-one.
Like one-to-one, right? Or a small group or something along those lines, into being someone who is a speaker having your own events.
Yes, one-to-many.
Because there are a couple... Before we jump into that, there are a couple different... ways that you can speak. So we are advocates of you having your own event, right? That you get people there, you put on your own event. That's where we say, like, that's the best place for you to be, right? A lot of people, though, do speak on other people's stages, meaning other people are hosting the event, and you go and speak at that event for a speaking fee, or maybe you're selling something and you're splitting it. You're splitting it with them. So there's a couple different ways of looking at it. We think that if you're the expert in your industry, if you are someone that has value to provide, you should be putting on your own event.
Your own. Correct.
Okay. So a lot of times,
and people get very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, because they haven't done it before.
Correct.
Right.
And we're here to guide you through it.
Yeah. And
step by step.
A lot of times it's the fear of the unknown. It's like, well, I haven't done that before. I just talk to people
how do I
on
even
the phone,
get a ballroom?
I talk to people like this, or how do I translate my coaching into
a broader audience?
Speaking.
Yes.
And that's a good question. So that's the topic we're going to cover today. And the way that you do it is by doing it, right? It's not enough to just be like, well, I might do that one day, or maybe when I get more experience, or I have more to talk about, or I feel more comfortable,
more excuses.
I look the way I want to look, and I feel like
I want to wait till I lose a couple more pounds.
Whatever, because we've heard it all, right? Whatever it is, you are perfect the way you are. Right? You have a message to spread, so why would you be holding that back until sometime down the road?
Reason,
and a lot of times it's because of fear. It's fear of the unknown, fear of looking stupid, fear of falling on your face.
Isn't that the number one fear?
Public speaking is the biggest fear. Over burning, in a fire. And it's big, right?
Yes.
But also, it's big because most people aren't willing to do that. And so there's big rewards when you do.
Right. And a lot of people are phone coaches. They talk on the phone, but it's different face-to-face or through a Zoom or something like that. And
even now, some people are, Zooming, or maybe you have a small group, and so you have 5 or 10 people that you talk to on a small group setting. When you are on stage and you are speaking and you are having your own event and you're putting yourself out there. You are. Right? But you're also standing on your own 2 feet. You are
on your morals.
You're owning your expertise. You're owning your information. You're owning your value. And that is why we say have your own event. Whether you have your own event at first and you have 5 people that show up. Hey,
that's okay.
That's okay.
You'll be in a boardroom somewhere.
Maybe that is how you start. Maybe you get 5 or 10 people, and maybe they're all
it's going to grow from there.
Right? Okay. But guess what?
You got to get your reps in.
Right? You're getting the reps in. You got to start somewhere. If you never start, you're never going to get that momentum. You're never going to get those reps. You're never going to get that confidence in yourself. And there is a high a natural high that occurs when you are on stage
and you're on fire.
People are there listening to you, and
Yep.
you hit a topic that you are passionate about, that you want to spread the message on, that you want to create an impact in. That is your wheelhouse, right? And so
Yes.
to go from coaching on the phone or coaching through Zoom or coaching one-on-one or one to a few and go one to many, you have to make the leap. And you have
big
to
jump.
have belief in yourself that you're ready to do that, right?
Yes.
And you're never going to feel 100% ready.
Nope.
Okay? So we're
No
just
matter
gonna,
what.
we're going to give you that out right now, that if you're waiting until you feel
Our
like the time
perfect
is right,
time.
it's never
No.
going to happen for you.
No.
It's just
No.
not. Because nothing is ever going to be perfect. But what you can do is you can take
You can
imperfect
work.
action. You
Yes.
can get moving in that direction and say, you know what? I'm coaching, but I'm also speaking. I am now
Yes.
taking my coaching and I'm able to provide
Yes.
even more value. I'm able to impact more people. I'm able to help more people with my message.
All at once.
Because I'm out there. Another thing that is powerful about having your own events and being the speaker or a speaker at your event is that you're able to go and not just talk, you're able to then help and facilitate and
Yes.
work on bringing transformation. A lot of times I coached
Yes.
for many years, right? And the one thing that was the hardest is that I could talk to the people, right? Over the phone or small group setting or, through video or however it was, but I couldn't get them to take the action, right?
Right.
And so
I mean, they wouldn't even clean your space for you when you were coming.
I mean, whether I was doing coaching over the phone, sometimes I would go and do on-sites where I would
They
actually
knew she was coming.
and I would tell them all the things that we worked up for weeks and weeks and weeks to get them to where they needed to be. So when I actually came for an on-site to work with them, right, they hadn't done the things that
The steps.
were required so that when we came there, we could run, right?
Yes.
And so that is the thing that bothered me the most about being a coach is I could sit there and talk to them week in and week out and week in and week out, but it was up to them to take the action, right? And most of the time they didn't. And so it felt like I was just kind of beating a dead horse,
Yes.
beating my head against the wall in that
Like,
I could see they had potential, right? I could
Yes.
see that they were getting the information, but they weren't implementing. And that's what's so great about events is you can be the speaker on stage, right? You can coach and facilitate, and coaching and speaking are very similar. It's just in which the way that you do it, right? So you're going to still take your knowledge that's up here and you're getting it out here, right? Whether you do that coaching one-to-one or one to a few, or whether you're standing on stage and going one to many, it's still taking your information and turning
Yes.
that into value.
and you're going to create even more.
But what's great is you're then creating a synergy at the event because other
Yes.
people are looking around and saying, okay, well, all these other people are here. They're
Yes.
doing it. I better
Right.
do it too. Or,
Yes.
you know what? She's here. He's here. And he's going to check and see that we are doing, like in
Right.
real time.
Right.
Before we move on to the next step, these things
Yes.
have to be done. And
Yes,
that's what
you're
we talk
implementing it right on the spot.
And that's what we talk about events. It's not just talking, speaking, one section to the next section to the next section.
No.
You're actually taking
You have to
time
stop.
for the implementation as well. Because if they don't implement it at your event,
Yes.
they're not going to go home
Right,
and
and
implement
that
it.
happens event after event after event. Once they leave, they're done with them, and they're also done with you
Yep.
because there's nothing after it.
Right. And because you haven't charged enough, right,
Nope.
for it, you haven't given them the expectations, you haven't held them accountable,
Didn't implement
you
anything.
haven't worked on the implementation, they come through the event and they go home. Or they listen to your coaching and they come
Then
back
they're
next
done.
week and haven't done anything. And
Nope.
so it's just a constant
Over and
vicious
over.
circle
It's something
that goes
for them to do.
round and round and round. And that is why a lot of times, seminars, they get a bad rap, right?
Right, because you still have that product that they bought 10 years ago on the shelf,
And they haven't done anything
unopened.
with it. Whether a lot of times courses, the same thing. Like people
Yeah.
buy courses all the time.
Just to buy a course.
The course is not the challenge, right? There's plenty of information out there. Pick a thing and do
You'll
it.
find it.
Right? But the challenge is it's people will start a course. They never finish the course.
That's
right?
it.
So they will listen to the coaching, but they
Yes.
never take action on the coaching.
Correct.
They will come to the event, but never go home and apply the information, right? And that's why we
That's
say,
it,
okay,
right there.
you've got them, right? You've got
Yeah,
them at
they're
your
there for
event.
you.
So work with them. Start getting them those wins and that success and that implementation. So when they do go back to their life, they do go back home, they've
Yes.
already got some things moving. The ball is
Yes.
already somewhat rolling.
And they're already
that
seeing a change.
that you can then continue on, right?
Yeah, they're
And so,
coachable.
when is the time that you should go from coaching to speaking? Now. Now is the time,
Yeah.
right? Not tomorrow,
Nope.
not next week or next month or next year.
Now.
It's now. If
Yep.
this is a calling, if this is something you can say, you know what, I can do more. I can take this bigger.
Yes.
I can make a bigger impact. I can help more people. Then you
Yes.
need to start getting your message out now.
Right. Just the way you lay it out for them, for your calls and your Zoom calls you're doing, you could do the same for your event.
Yep.
Figure out what you're going to be teaching, what you're going to start off with, what's the middle, how many days, and then
All of this stuff.
that's
And
the
we have
first
tons
steps.
of information out there that can help you guys with
Yeah,
this.
already.
We're also coming out with more here,
information.
all the time. We're going to have a way of you guys being able to get more information as well. But it breaks my heart to see so many people are like, well, I want to do
Spinning their
more,
wheels.
but I don't know how. Or I want to do more, but I don't think I'm
Yes.
quite ready.
I want to
Or
get ready for the next step.
it's like, we got to stop the excuses. We got to stop the someday, maybe, and
it's-
actually start getting into action, right? It's
Action steps.
Talking about it is not doing it. We got to be about it, right? We got to actually. So if you want to go from coaching into more speaking, how do you do that? You start speaking, right? You start getting out there. You
Yes.
start wherever you
Telling
can.
everybody what you're doing.
Wherever you can get some FaceTime, where that's 5 minutes, 15 minutes,
Yes.
30 minutes, and you can get on a stage.
It's just for
Or you
education.
can talk to people. You got to get the ball rolling. You got to start, right?
Yes. And watching yourself and learning
And we
from
talk
it.
about all the time, fail forward fast, right? The more
Just
that
go.
you can say, well, that wasn't the greatest. Okay,
Yep.
great. Next,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Next time.
And then
It's-
make those changes for the next.
it's about getting the repetition. It's about getting out there and doing it. Start getting comfortable with not just sitting on a phone or just talking like this.
Yep.
You're actually standing. You're
Taking your time.
you're talking. You're giving information. You're taking that information that you already
Yes.
have and getting it out a little bit different
To
of a
the
way,
masses.
right? But making a bigger impact along the way. And most people are like, well, I'm not going to be able to go and speak in front of 1,000 people, so I'm just not going to do it. It's like, well, no, you don't go from nothing to 1,000 or nothing to
Yeah.
something. There's little steps along the way, and you have to be willing to take those steps, right?
Yep.
And sometimes you have to take a couple steps backwards to make a flying leap forward.
Yes,
In
and
where
make those
you're wanting
changes
to
too.
go and what you're wanting to do and how you pivot and how you can
Yes.
say, you know what? I've been playing too small for too long. It's now time to play a different game.
Right,
It's time to
and-
play a bigger game. It's time to create a bigger impact.
They might even change your information too.
Yeah.
You might not even like the topic.
Maybe you're like, you know what?
I've been doing this for too long.
This is great. I actually want to speak more on this. Or
Yes,
this is
or
where
this is my passion.
This is where I see that I can have the biggest impact.
Yes.
So I'm going to speak on these topics. I'm going to have events around these things. And hey, maybe you throw your own evening event, a 2-hour, right?
Yes.
Where you have people come, they mix, they mingle. Then you have your topic, and then you have some
Yes.
implementation time, or you open up for Q&A. Q&A, questions and
Yes.
answers, is a great way
Yes.
for you to start being able to, one, be on stage and speak, but then you're also getting that
Getting your
feedback.
information.
You're able to
Yes.
then get your knowledge and experience.
And they're
out
having
there
a better
more.
time because they are able to ask questions.
So there's a way, lots of different ways that you can do this, but you don't need to go from nothing all the way over to here to filling an
Yeah.
arena.
No.
That's probably not how it's going to work, right?
Nope.
But there are steps along the way that you can take, and if you keep putting it off, you're gonna be putting it off until you're just not going to do it.
No.
Right? So you got to get in the game. You got to get moving. You got to take those steps. You got to start getting into action. You got to start getting that
Right.
momentum going so that way you can then say, okay, you know what? I'm a coach and I'm a speaker. Because most
That's right.
of the time, most speakers are also coaches, but not all coaches are speakers. So you can have multiple tools in your tool belt, multiple ways of being able to help people. But if you're a coach, normally you're a coach. But if you're a speaker, normally, you do your speaking, but maybe you also do some coaching, right? Or maybe at your event, you have smaller groups. Or there's all kinds of different ways that you can do it, but it doesn't normally go, coaching and speaking, but speaking and coaching go hand in hand, right? So it's actually more advantageous that if you are a coach, to then the door is kind of open a little bit for you that you could also become a speaker. You've got to work on those skills, right? You've got to develop
right.
that skill set on how to do that, how to be
jump in
effective,
and jump
how
right
to,
in it.
make the biggest impact. But not
Yes.
all people who are coaches are speakers because
Nope.
they haven't put in the time to
Or the
get
effort.
that skill set. But a lot of times people who are speakers are coaches. Okay, so knowing that if you want to stand out, if you want to differentiate yourself from everybody else and not
Yes.
just be another
You're gonna have to
coach,
take that leap.
right? There's a lot of coaches out there. Everybody coaches or consults on something, right?
Yep.
But to stand up in front of a crowd of people and
Yes.
be a speaker,
It takes more.
not everybody can do that. Right?
Nope.
So if you feel like that's your calling, that's something you can do, even if you're scared, you can still do it,
Yes,
right?
you can.
If you feel like that's the next level for you, then let's get working on that. Let's get let's get out there. Let's start figuring all this out. Let's
Yes.
put together that blueprint of how that
Yes.
looks and how, that experience is going to be for you.
That's right.
And what you're wanting to get out there.
Yep.
Because
Practicing and telling everyone of what you're doing.
and a lot of times people hide behind being a coach. It's like, okay, I'm a coach, so I can just
So I
stay
can do
home.
my own time
I can
frame.
just book it when I want. And it starts off like that. But then you get on the coaching cycle, and it's
And
like a
then
revolving
nonstop.
wheel that you could not ever get off, right?
No.
And so if you're on that revolving wheel right now, you're like, well, I don't even know how I would have time to have more because I've got back-to-back coaching sessions
Mm-hmm.
all day, every day, and you've kind of built a prison for yourself, then maybe you need to get rid of a few clients, or maybe you need to
Right.
put it together in more of a group setting instead of doing one-on-ones. You
Yes,
can
and
batch
raising those
them
prices.
together and charge more than what you're charging now for those one-on-ones because
Yes.
you're valuing
Yeah, do that
yourself
first.
more, right?
Yes.
So, hey guys, I'm going to transition this in from one-on-ones. We're going to do a group coaching session. So you could take 10 people that you're doing 10 hours of one-on-ones and put
Right,
it into
all-
one group
Right.
call, right?
Because half of those people aren't even going to ask questions anyway.
Right. So, or do anything.
Yeah.
And that's also why you need to raise your prices, raise the cost or the investment of doing business with you, because you're going to get rid of some of those people who aren't going to do anything either. If they're not
Right.
willing to invest in themselves for you, then they're not willing to do the work either, right?
No.
So how can you get out of this vicious cycle and this circle that you've created for yourself, right? It's time to do something about it. Instead of just, well, this is
Correct.
what I'm doing, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And even if you don't want to become a speaker, I would implore you to look at your coaching business and
and
figure out
reformat it a
how
bit.
can you create more time in
Yes.
your coaching? How
Yes.
can you charge more, create a bigger value,
Create more time for yourself.
and more so that you can work on other skills, so you can work on freeing up
Yes.
your time, so you can work on thinking about maybe I do want to coach, maybe I do want to have an event,
Right,
maybe,
but you just thought you never had the time.
right, because you're just constantly going.
Yeah.
Like, how can
An
you
hour each client.
redo this so that
Yes.
it works for you? It's more effective for
Yeah.
you, but it also is helping your clients at the
Yeah.
same time.
10 hours, if you could fit that in 2 days.
And well, most of the time, people are, whatever days they're doing it. And if you're a coach, a lot of people are coaches to be coaching, right? So you're coaching and you have these clients. Well, you could take all of those clients and put them into a couple small groups and totally free up your schedule, right? It's possible.
Just like
you
that.
have to be willing, though. If
To
they
do it.
all said no, okay.
All right.
Because you know your
Because some
value,
other people
and
will.
you know your worth, and now this is what it is. This is the investment that it is to work with you. And the ones who aren't willing to, let them go. Right? There's somebody else
Yes.
that can help them. But
Just
you
fire
now
them.
are raising your bar. You're raising your level. You're raising
Yes,
your
and your
investment.
prices.
But you're also raising your value, right?
Yes.
Because you know what you're worth. And
That's right.
so there's lots of different ways that you
And
can.
you're going to tweak it a bit too,
that
how
can
you were teaching.
tweak it, change it, take it up, move it around, and
Yes.
that's something that we can help you with. We can talk to you about it. But whether you're wanting to do coaching and speaking, or whether you're wanting to stick with your coaching business, there's a lot of better, more effective ways that you can run your coaching business too. Okay, so
Yes.
don't feel like, well, I can't do anything else because I'm so
Yeah, I'm stuck.
bogged down with what I've already got. I don't have any more time left in the day or the week or the month to be able to do anything. So I'm just going to stay right where I am. Right? That's a crock.
Yes.
That's an excuse. It's something that we can change. You can maneuver. You can develop something different so that's
Yes.
more effective for you, so that you can continue to move forward, so you can continue to
correct.
grow and evolve yourself and not just stay in this vicious cycle of round and round and round.
Round and robin.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that was perfect.
Alrighty, so I think that covers today's topic.
It does.
The lesson you should get from today is If you are coaching and you want to be speaking, now is the time, right? If you want to start having your own
Yes.
events and start doing
Start
it
today.
Don't put it off until tomorrow. Don't say,
Yep.
let me think about it. Go,
Yep.
right?
Start figuring it
getting
out.
out there. Start putting yourself out there. Start getting those reps in. Start getting those speaking engagements. Whether that's, you're going
Yes.
down to you can look up on meetup.com. There's all kinds of groups and all kinds of things.
Oh, big
Find
time.
something you're passionate about that you enjoy and go
Yeah.
speak. Like, hey, I'd love
Yeah.
to talk for 5
Yep.
minutes.
Yes.
Hey,
Can I have 10 minutes?
Maybe you
15?
go to the Rotary Club, or you go to this different club, or the women's club, or the men's group. And you're like, hey, I'd love to, talk.
Right.
To
Give some information.
Just start getting up there and doing it, because then the more you do something, the easier it gets, right? The more comfortable
Yes.
you get, the more natural it comes for
Yes,
you.
and always record yourself.
And then you can start building from there, right?
Yes.
Now, if you don't have that challenge, you're like, you know what? I want to speak. I know I can put on my own event. This is something I can work on.
Right.
Then great.
It's nothing.
Right?
Yes.
Everyone's got to start somewhere. You got to figure out where you are on that.
Yes.
But no matter where you are, you got to get into action. You got to get doing. If you speakers
Keep
speak,
moving.
right?
Keep it moving.
Coaches coach, speakers speak. So if you're a speaker, then you need to be speaking. You need to be putting yourself out there. You need to be getting on stages. You need to have your own events. This is a whole thing to
whole
start
cycle.
working on for yourself, but don't
Yes.
put off until tomorrow what you can do today, right? And if you're
Yes.
saying this is something I want to do, then stand up, declare yourself as a speaker, and go.
There you go.
Okay, that is
Yes.
the conversation that we have
Yes.
today.
So share. Please like.
Comment, subscribe. We do have this that we put out on our different platforms, whether you like to watch or listen. So we take this, we record it, we put it out there for you guys. Share it with your other like-minded colleagues, other coaches, speakers, trainers that you know.
And we're here for you.
We want to spread the message and get this out there to help more and more people so people know that, look, you're not just stuck doing what you're doing. There is a better, more effective way, a
more
way that you can
options.
make a bigger impact and make a profit at the same time. So
Yes.
we love you guys. We appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.